that the stream got it, that the stream is actually working. So before we kind of launch into things. Testing. Okay, it's working. All right, I'm gonna let them in. I'm gonna go here. Done. Come on. Share the screen. Turn it on. Start the broadcast. And we'll start. Okay, we finally made it, guys. So, all right. So, welcome. So yeah, you have to bear with me and forgive me. I'm having to stream from a different location, so just everything that could go wrong was going wrong, but we made it here, so it's okay. Let's see. So we are at the end of, and you're just gonna have to do the best you can with like the background noise, you know, it is what it is. So we're at the end of week 6, right? So I want to say that during week 8 we have exam 2, and then right after week 8 we go into spring break. I'll be making your midterm grades based on basically everything leading up to exam 2, including exam 2, right? So as soon as exam 2 is due, that's when I intend to like crunch your midterm grades. And basically the midterm grade, all it is just a snapshot of where you are at that moment in time, right? It doesn't say anything about the end, right? So I've seen all the cases where people have Fs going into the midterm and they turn it around. And unfortunately, and it happens very, very rarely, but I have seen where people have been at A's at the midterm and then it just somehow falls apart, right? But if you need assistance, you have to speak up. If you don't say anything, that makes it more challenging to help, right? And again, the intent of class time is for it to be a Q&A time. It's a time, that's the best time for you to ask me questions directly. Like, and then another thing is like, to me, on my end, it doesn't make sense to have office hours outside of this time if nobody's asking questions, right? If nobody's taking advantage of me offering assistance, right? So, and it's okay, you don't have to. Like, the way I run my class, I run it as if you guys are adults. You're in college, you're an adult now. And I know you're transitioning from being a high school student to being an adult, but as an adult, you have to be responsible. Is there anybody on the call that can tell me what does the word responsible mean? Like, is there anybody that can, what is responsible or responsibility, what does that mean to you? Like, and I'm gonna leave it open until I hear from somebody, so, but yeah, as an adult, you know, you have to be responsible. Let me see if you guys can hear or see me. Let me go check the Zoom. I don't think there's any chat. Let me get these gentlemen in the waiting room. So if I go to edit, let's see, but yeah, you got to speak up. So feel free to, you should be able to unmute yourself, and feel free to unmute yourself if you just want to empower your voice, if you feel the urge to say something. Again, but there's no obligation. Let me get this student. But again, whoever does the most talking does the most learning. So if I'm doing all the talking, I'm doing all the learning. I had one student, I was so like excited. He was like, "Hey, can I work this one?" I was like, "Yes." But again, like when you're on Zoom calls, it is kind of difficult to like get you guys. My experience has been it's difficult to get you guys to speak. So I was like, instead of forcing you to speak, I just designed my presentation around you guys not speaking. So if you speak or don't, it's okay. It totally is okay. But again, the recommendation, you want to speak up, you want to make your presence known, and you want feedback. If you don't speak or if you don't engage, if you don't go back and forth, you can't get any feedback. And you don't want your first feedback to be like on a grade report, like an exam or a midterm grade. You don't want that to be your feedback. You want your feedback, you need as much feedback before then as possible, right? So the longer you wait, the longer you're silent, the worse it is. And this is the same thing in life, right? So the sooner you can face whatever it is that's like you're afraid of, or whatever you're resisting or running from, the sooner you can face it and turn around and look at it, you're going to see that big, scary, ominous, vicious dog is just a little chihuahua. You're like, Snowball? I've been running from Snowball this whole time, really? And I'm just speaking in terms of like facing professors, facing math, the anxiety of math, college, just life. I'm just speaking in general terms. I'm not talking about anything specifically. Okay, we got our first. Okay, so there was someone said that they had a problem with Pearson. You should be able to unmute yourself and we can talk about it. I don't know if it's like you submitted something and you didn't get credit for it, or you can type it in the chat as well. But this is actually the best time to resolve that matter. So we can actually take some time now to resolve any issue with Pearson, whether it's a homework, a quiz, or an exam. Now is the best time, all right? And if you don't take advantage of it now, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do later. Again, emails are fine. I encourage you to email me. That way, at least it's on file and it's on record. But again, you know, I don't really get paid that much from anything to check my email. So what that means is that when I'm not with you guys, I'm out trying to survive, right? I take time out of my day to be available for you guys. So, but I try to like honor this time, right? I try to be here and be available. And so like, if you have a question, now is the best time to ask it. So I know you said you sent an email. I don't know, like if you, now is the best time to just go ahead and tell me what is the issue and we can talk about it. I can pull it up. But you know, okay. And some typical issues with Pearson, like I know sometimes it could be a challenge to like get those decimals correct. So like when you're working on the homework, if you make use of the ask my instructor, it'll send it directly to my email, right? And then you just have to, we have to connect and I can pull it up and, you know, like, but again, I'm pretty sure you guys can unmute yourself and speak. So I'm not gonna go outside of that. But I'm not gonna check my emails. Like, I'm just not gonna do it because it creates too much anxiety in me. I don't pressure you guys, so I'm not gonna let you pressure me, all right? I'm just not gonna do it. Because I'm totally indifferent. Like I'm totally indifferent about the whole thing. But I know I'm not about to stress out about checking emails. I'm just not gonna do it. Like I'm not good at it. I always miss something that's important. So I was like, you know what? I'm not checking emails anymore. So if I'm not gonna check emails, now is you need to speak up during class. And if you can't speak up during class, I don't know what to tell you. I'm available. These are office hours. Everything is asynchronous. You know, the lecture is there, the homework is there. You have tutors, you have each other, you have Pearson, you have B, right? And then another reason I use class time as office hours is because when I schedule, in the past, when I would schedule office hours outside of class, two things typically happen. Either it clashed with people's schedule and they weren't available, but generally what happens is nobody ever used it. So I was like, it doesn't make sense for me to have office hours. So what I did is I load everything and make it available, and I designed the class to be asynchronous. Like some professors, they never live. Like they might have office hours. I'm gonna check that in just a minute. Like I've heard with some professors, they don't even do a live presentation during class. They just make everything remote and they never respond to emails, right? But they never engage. Let me see. So let's see. It was about the first exam, questions 4, 5, and 9, and answered incorrectly, but they were making me wrong because I didn't type it exactly. Okay, let me look at it. Let me stop my screen share. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up on my other device. So let's go here. Let me pull it up right now because this is the best time. Let's go here. And it's from exam 1. So let me take a moment to look at this. That's not the right thing. I love the mastering. There it is. So that way I'm not, I guess I can keep sharing my screen. Share the screen. That's fine. Let me pull it up. Put it on this one right now. Okay. So, but yeah, it is important to email. Like that is important, but it just stresses me out. So I was like, I'm not even about to check those. That's just being honest. And I'm indifferent. I'm totally indifferent about all of this. Like I'm just here to try to help as many people as I can. When it's time for me to go, I will go. Like without even a second thought. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm gone. Because I already be working on other things. Like I don't depend on these things. I'm just doing it just because. Let's see. Oh, okay. So let's go here. So I'm just trying to help people as best I can, and then once it's my time, I just go on. Gradebook. Let's go to gradebook. Let me pull up this request. Managed by student. This one, right? You said exam 1. So on exam 1, so again, the system is set to take your highest. I see exam 1. I see exam 2. So again, you get unlimited attempts, right? It looks like you only took it once. And you did fairly well. You get unlimited attempts. So want to take it, you can. You can take it as many times as you want to get whatever score you want, up until about 90% at this point, right? So that's why I do the unlimited attempts and a 10% late penalty, because I do acknowledge that sometimes, like for instance, this one you answered not equal to 3. I get it. I can give you credit for that one. Because I see you just typed it wrong. You didn't need the Y. I see. I mean, you needed the Y. I can give you credit for that. I think it's the same thing on this one. Okay, hang on. And this one. Okay, these are fine. Let me give you credit for these. All right. Submit the grade. Let me see. It's going from there. Okay, so I found one. It was your question number 4. I went on to give you credit for it. Let me look at question number 5. Looks like it's the same thing. Okay, 1. Okay, I can give you credit for this as well. Okay, cool. I don't mind giving you credit for that because it's just a typing thing. So I changed the second one. That boosted you significantly. Let's try another one. Okay, let's try this one. Let's see. Okay, I think you just got that wrong. What about this one? That's just wrong. Okay. So there were 2 questions I was able to give you credit for. Let me check this question here. There's another one. Let me see. You answered. Oh, okay. They just basically wanted another. So because like you put x equals -10 comma 4 to type it incorrectly. They just wanted x equals -10 comma x equals 4. So that's just a typing thing. So I'll give you credit for that one. But that significantly changed that grade. Like you don't even have to go back to do it. Grade has been submitted. I think that was it. Hang on, let me check another one. Stop. Let me check another one. So because you spoke up, you're like one of the first ones to actually listen. That was just wrong, so I can't give you credit for that one. Okay, so I was able to change, I think, 3 of your questions. So I will go back and look at it again, and let me know if you need any other assistance. All right, smooth. Good job, good job. Let me check again. Yep, no worries. Yeah. So yeah, see, that was, to me, like that was exactly what it is I've been trying to get you guys to do, right? He said, hey, I got those questions right. They didn't give me credit for it. Instead of he was confident. He was like, no, I know I got it right. So he was like, hey, can you look at this exam? And he did what I said. So I pulled it up. I could see it. I was like, oh, yep, that's right. I gave him credit for it, right? And it was basically typing it into the computer, but his answer was correct. He just typed it in wrong. So I gave him credit for it, right? Easy. So, and he spoke up in the way that he was comfortable doing. He didn't want to like unmute himself, which is totally fine. I'm glad I was able to help at least one person. So I feel like I did my job. I'll work out the rest of that. Okay. So, but again, so now, this student's grade literally just bumped a whole letter grade because I looked at it. I was like, oh yeah, that stuff is right. And I gave him credit for it, Let me see. But again, and he didn't have to go and take it several times. He's good. Let's see. It should be, did it change? Let me check it again and review. Just make sure it changed. Yeah, it looks like it did. Maybe I just need to refresh the screen. Let me refresh this. So before I launch into working some problems. I might actually call it a day because today is just so unorthodox. Let me manage by students. I mean, we can do whatever you guys want to do, really. Go here because we can work some more questions. I can look at items. Yeah, it looked like it changed. Okay. Let me check the chat. So if it's about what 10:30, let's hang out for like 15 minutes. Now, for the next 15 minutes, I could either work through problem sets, we can review an exam. We got an exam 2 that's coming up. Exam 2 is going to be over all of chapter 3. So that's 3-1, 3-2, and 3-3, and I think 3-4. We'll be doing 3-4 next week. So this week we were working on section 3-3, right? So for the next like 10 to 15 minutes, we can either work through homework sets. I can just be available for questions. We can work on old exams, like anything. Let me see if I can make a quick poll. Let me make a quick poll. Edit. So I want a new question. Let's add a question. Number 2. Which of the following do you most resonate? Question mark. All right, let's see where we are. Can we do multiple choice? Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Okay, what's the first one? Come on, this. Let's do this. I'm going as quickly as I can. Select all. Reading. Let's see. Let's do this one. And this other, let's do one more. Let's do 2 more. And let's do this. Come on. Okay. Let's do go. How do I save? Okay. And then now, okay, so I'm going to start a poll. I really just wanted the second question, but that's okay. Okay. So I started a poll, right? You can do the first one as well if you like, but just take a moment and like do the poll, like, you know. So the first question is like a single choice. We can either go through the homework or go through a lecture, but I think we did the lecture. But then the second one, I want you to kind of go through those and choose, you know, you can choose multiple answers. Choose whichever one or ones you most resonate with. We'll review an old exam off the rip. Oh, so now we can do this like an auction. Okay, yeah, we gotta start too. Let's start this homework leading into the game. What do we have next? So we got, okay, reviewing. So right now in the lead is practice homework leading up to the next exam. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. As we do have an exam coming up. Okay, so far 80% leading up to the next exam. Let's call it the day leave. Oh, you guys don't want to have more fun? What's wrong with you guys? Let's see. Okay, I think we got eight choices so far, and in the lead is practice homework leading up to the next exam. Okay, well, how much time? So now let me say this. While you guys continue the poll. with my 2 p.m. class on Wednesday with you guys, I did the lecture, right? I recorded the lecture and I live streamed it. But after you guys with my other class, I went through the homework, right? And that's on my YouTube. Now I could pull up my YouTube with them. I started at the beginning and, I got as far as I could, right? Now I could just stream that. You could watch that on your own, or, I can start at the beginning and redo those questions, or I can start at the end and work backwards. To me, I feel like starting at the end and working backwards is best, because then you'll at least have a copy of the first set of questions and the last set of questions, right? Unless somebody either types in the chat or speaks up, I probably am going to start. I might work backwards. I haven't really decided yet. But I think it's unanimous. Let's go through homework leading to the next exam. So I'm going to go ahead and start on section 3.3. And I think I am going to work backwards only because there's a copy of the first set of questions with my class from earlier, right? So and if you guys want me to start at the beginning or somewhere else, I can, and I will, but you have to like speak up and ask. All right, but if you don't say anything, I'm gonna just work backwards. So that way you have a recording of as many questions as possible. I mean, honestly, and you can pull these up and use them, whenever, right? If you're working through and you need a reference point, you can just pull it up, and then, because I want to say the questions, not 100%, but they're mostly the same, or at least if it's a question we talked about in recording, you can use it. And if it's not something we talked about, then you have to adjust. I guess there's some kind of Amber Alert bothering everybody. Well, but I mean, if somebody's in need, so allow, come on. Okay, so this is 3.3. Okay, the rules of logarithms. Okay, so I want to say that last time we did a lecture on the rules of logarithm. Let me do the best I can to work backwards. And I'll just try to fill in as best I can, because I know there are some concepts. We kind of talked about this stuff, and a lot of this stuff is similar. So now we're going to see and do the best we can to apply some of the stuff that we talked about last time. Let me check the chat. Chat looks good. I want to check the poll one more time. Yeah, homework questions. Okay. Cool. Now, I will say I do feel much better that, I mean, I guess either way, like nobody said they feel it's a dire need, they need assistance. This is interesting, because anyway. Okay. So if we're working, so again, I'm working backwards again, because the first set of questions, so we got a solid 10 minutes remaining, maybe a little bit more. The first set of questions are recording on my YouTube channel. So you should be subscribed to my YouTube channel with your notifications turned on, so that way you know when I'm going live, and at least so you can know what content is there, right? Like for instance, most of these sessions should be there. Okay, so this is question 18. This comes from section 3.3. This is question number 77 from the end of that section. It says the decay rate of a certain chemical is 9.5% per year. What's its half-life? Use the exponential decay model, this one, where K is the decay rate and P naught is the original amount of the chemical. Okay. I don't want to be cocky and be like, oh, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, but let's just do it first, because sometimes these things do go sideways, like easy, right? So let's just do it and see what happens. So let's here, I'm gonna take this. Come on, oh no, come on. Oh, shyster. Oh, I know what I can do. Paste. Come on. Maybe you didn't get it. Insert last image. Yeah, there it is. All right. I'm gonna go about like this. Okay. So, okay. So I generally like to start. Let me get a copy. So we're working with this exponential decay model, right? So P of T equals P naught e to the negative, and just feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question or if anything is not clear, right? where P naught is going to be our starting amount, K is our decay rate, and T is our time, right? It says the decay rate, okay, so let's write what's given. Let's use this color. It says the decay rate of a certain chemical is 9.5 per year, right? So that means our K is 9.5% per year, okay? So then the question asks, what's the half-life? I'm gonna denote half-life as H. What's the half-life, okay? I'm tempted to start someplace else. Let's see. Okay, so there's the thing I was going back and forth. There are two things at play. I'm tempted to use a half-life formula, which goes, let me see, the way I remember it is KT equals the natural log of 2, right? So, and it looks like we have K. So let's see. I'm going to try this one first. I'm going to do it two different ways. First I'm going to try the half-life formula. So then a half-life, so our H, it should be the natural log of 2 over K. So that should be the natural log of 2 divided by 0.095, right? Because the percent, you always have to write it as a decimal. So then we just would crunch that number. Let's see if this works. If this doesn't work, I have another one. So let's go like this. Let's do this. We want this one. Come on. Awesome sauce. Yeah, it's so much better. Reload and refresh. Okay. Now, let's go here. Okay. Okay. Oh, we're just about out of time. So if we do the natural log, come on, natural log of 2 divided by 0.0, I'm just going to try this. Come on. 0.0, no, 95. Let's see if this works. So we're seeing 7 point blah, blah, blah years, right? So let's hop back over here. This one. Round to, let's see if that works. Because sometimes that does work. Let's see if it's 7 years. If that doesn't work, we have work around. Did you see that? Because I started to use this formula. Now we could have, like if we had used this, we would have gotten to that same point anyway, right? Because if you started with this formula, this P of T equals P naught E to the negative KT, if you're trying to find a half-life, that means if you start with P naught, you're going to finish with half of P naught, right? So then when you finish with half of P naught, eventually you get to this guy in purple. So if you start with half of P, like if you finish with half of P naught using that model, eventually you'll get to this purple line, right? So that was like, but I knew that this was a shortcut. This is called the half-life formula. Let me go ahead and label it. Half-life formula. One other thing. So hopefully that you're taking notes and you're organized, right? Let's try to get one more question. You're taking notes, you're being organized, and you have a formula sheet. So you have one sheet that has any formula that you come across, you update that sheet with the formulas. Let's try to get one more question in and then we'll call it a day. Okay, come on. Here we go. Okay, so that was that one. Let's go to the previous one. All right. It says, suppose $2,000 is invested in an account that pays interest compounded continuously. Find the amount that it would take for the account to grow to this at this rate. Okay, cool. This one should be okay too. Let's get a copy. This will be the last one for the day. We're going to take it like this. Cool. And let's just put it on the page. And then all these things that you see me writing, there's a PDF copy of all of this stuff on Blackboard, all right? This is good. Okay, so It says compounded continuously, so we can use a continuous compound interest formula. And the way I remember that one is PERT. So A equals P e to the RT. This is the same formula as the last question. It just looks different, right? Okay, so let's fill in what we're given. Suppose $2,000 is invested, right? So that means we're starting with $2,000, right? It pays interest compounded continuously. Find this, and what you see, this PERT, that's the compound continuous formula. Continuous compound or continuous compound interest, that's what this is, all right? For the sake of time, I'm not gonna write that. It says the amount of time, find the amount, so they're asking us to solve for t. It would take for the account to grow to, now we wanna finish, so that means our A is 3,500. And our rate is 5.75%, okay? Okay, so let's put all this together. All right, so then we have the 3,500 equals the principal, which is $2,000, times e to the power of the rate. That 5.75, we have to write it as a decimal, so that's going to be 0.057, nope, 575. And the time is what we're solving for. So we're trying to solve for t. We're almost there. First, we're going to divide both sides by 2,000. All right, so okay, when I say both sides, I'm basically working the left and right side of the equal sign. So I'm focused on the equal sign. So just like in life, you know, what you do to one side, you want to do the other. You want to do the best you can to be as balanced as possible. There are some very funky and unorthodox ways that people are balanced sometimes, but you want to do your best to be as balanced as possible. So again, this is like the left, this is the right, right? So first, again, what I do on the left-hand side, I also do on the right-hand side. You got to be balanced. So then I'm going to divide both sides by 2,000. All right. So a number divided by itself becomes 1. It's very Zen-like. When you have, on the left-hand side, when you have those trailing zeros, you can just cancel out those trailing zeros, just like that. All right. So then if you, well, you can factor out here. Let's write it on the next slide. So then 35 is what? 7 times 5? So 35 is 5 times 7. 20 is 5 times 4, right? Thank you. Stop. On the right-hand side, we still have this e to the power of 0.0575t, okay? Again, this is multiplication. So now on the left, now that it's all multiplication and division, you can cancel the like factors. So the 5's cancel. So on the left, we have 7 over 4. On the right, to get that t out of the exponent, we take the natural log on both sides, right? Natural log on both sides, right? So on the right-hand side, natural log and e are inverses, so they cancel each other. And this brings this expression out of the exponent. And on the left-hand side, we just leave it as is. Okay, I'm almost done. Well, we're almost done. Oh, undo. Let's try that one more time. Okay, so then this is going to be equal to, on the left, we have the natural log of 7 by 4. On the right, we have 0.0575t, right? So what's the inverse now? We're still trying to isolate or get the t by itself. We have some number times t. So then to undo it, the inverse of multiplication is what? Division, right? The opposite or inverse of multiplication is division. So we divide both sides by that number, right? We divide both sides, and we divide the left and the right by that number, right? A number divided by itself is 1. So then long story short, I'm just switching it around. T equals the natural log of 7 by 4 over this number. And then now you just put it in the calculator. And the calculator says that this is approximately. So we got the natural log of 7 over 4 divided by 0.0575. Okay. Let's find that number. I think it said round to the nearest 10. So the nearest 10 is the first decimal, is one decimal place. So approximately 9.7. Okay, let's check and see if this is correct, and then we'll call it a day. That was a really interesting experience. Oh, goodness gracious. 9.7. Let's see if this works. Style like this. Okay, let's hop back over here. Not that one. Okay, nearest 10th. So we got 9.7. Give me just a second. Come on. 9.7. Check. Okay. All right, that was an adventure, gentlemen. Okay, so this week we worked on section 3.3. If you want to see those earlier sets of questions, there's two ways you can visualize, you can see it. Well, I have it recorded on my YouTube. Again, if you're subscribed to my YouTube and you get a notification, I'm going to be back on doing something similar. I'm going to be working more of these questions later today at 2, right? So again, if you're subscribed to my YouTube with your notification turned on, when I go live, you can just watch it. You can watch it live and be practicing if you want. You know, I totally get it. I know you guys are not mathematicians. I don't expect you to be like doing this around the clock the way it's supposed to be done. I just want you to kind of, you know, I want to encourage you to get to where I want you to figure your life out as soon as possible, right? Find your rhythm. I think it's called unagi, right? So if you want to know what that is, we can talk about it. It's really interesting and it's fun. But if you're having trouble like finding a heading or a purpose, I can share with you something. I think it's either unagi or unaki. I can't remember the proper term, but we can look it up and we can walk through it together. It's really interesting. But if there aren't any burning questions, let me just kind of hop back over here. And let me go ahead and share this too before I leave. Share to box, college algebra. These are answered homework questions. This one, college algebra, answered homework questions right there. It's in the box. Okay. So again, if there aren't any burning questions, let me check one other thing. If I go here, the poll was interesting. I'm going to use that later. The chat looks clear. Okay. So gentlemen, if there aren't any questions, we're going to end the session here. And from one beautiful mind to another, enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, guys, take care. Peace.